IPA's Consumer Protection Research Initiative is a multi-year, multi-country program intended to monitor, diagnose and solve the risks consumers face when using digital financial services. We use new data sources and cutting-edge techniques to shed light on existing problems and identify previously unknown risks. This talk will give you examples of how new approaches have helped regulators around the world. Data from the World Bank's Global Findex shows that there has been a rapid progress in access to digital payment systems, and the speed of adoption is increasing. Rising adoption makes it even more important that we equip regulators with the tools to identify and tackle potential risks. These risks include fraud, lending and debt distress, failure of complaints and redress systems, and high fees and low transparency. Let's start with fraud. We probably all know about phishing scams, but today I'd like to talk about a different type of fraud. Unregulated companies claiming to be fintech lenders, able to offer loans at high speed. But these often come at a cost, like application fees for loans that never show up, or extortionate levels of interest. Since 2019, there's been an explosion of these types of apps released, making it hard for platforms and regulators to spot the fraudulent firms. Working with academics from the University of Zurich, we scraped publicly available data on apps and used machine learning techniques to classify the apps into legitimate and fraudulent buckets. Of those apps labeled as potentially fraudulent, 67% were later removed by regulators or platform operators, demonstrating the power of machine learning techniques to correctly identify fraudulent apps from public data. As this work shows, there is huge demand for digital loans. In the most part, these loans can play a positive role in consumers' financial lives, helping to smooth out unexpected shocks. However, we know that consumers are often tempted to take out more loans than they can afford, leading to repayment difficulties and defaults. To investigate potentially harmful lending patterns, we worked with the Competition Authority in Kenya to collect transaction-level data from the biggest lenders in their market. We found that consumers were often borrowing from multiple firms and borrowing multiple times within the same month, patterns of behavior that could lead to unaffordable levels of debt. Working with transaction-level data like this enables us to see patterns of use that wouldn't otherwise be visible from surveys or aggregate data. If you have suffered loss or have another problem with a product, then your first course of action is often to contact your provider. Hopefully this solves the problem, or if not, you could raise a complaint against the firm. These complaints play an important role in how firms behave, but they also provide a useful source of information for regulators. We worked with the Ugandan Communication Commission to assess the volume and nature of complaints in their market. We could see a drop in complaint volumes at the onset of the COVID-19 crisis, and this surprised us at first. So we triangulated the data with social media analysis during the same time period, and we found that whilst official complaints to companies dropped, complaints on social media rose dramatically, demonstrating the importance of using multiple sources when monitoring outcomes. Finally, a cornerstone of any well-functioning market is information transparency, especially around prices. Without this, consumers cannot make informed decisions, and competition between firms will be weak. To investigate fee transparency in Nigeria, we conducted a mystery shopping audit of 29 payment providers. We found that many of our transactions failed, only 2 out of the 29 providers listed their fees on their website, and fees often exceeded regulatory caps. Using audits and mystery shopping exercises like this can help us really walk in the consumer's shoes. Digital financial services continue to grow, expanding in existing markets and spreading into new markets. Its rise has revolutionized our ability to include the most vulnerable into financial services. This brings great opportunities, but also risks. Our work at the Consumer Protection Research Initiative equips regulators with the tools to monitor these risks and take decisive action to design financial markets that deliver responsible and inclusive solutions for consumers.